Sadie, I see you have your water.
Well, you know me, my BXB water bottle.
You always do such a good job of drinking water, no matter the season.
It's so true. I'm always trying to stay hydrated. And you always do such a good job of drinking Diet Coke.
No matter the season.
Truly.
No matter the time of day.
No matter if it's your third, it's 10 p.m.
It don't matter.
It's Diet Coke time.
I am trying very hard to drink more water, though, especially this winter, because it's pretty important for skin and hair.
True.
And cheers to that.
Cheers.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Beauty by the Beaker. I'm Natalie.
And I'm Sadie.
And Siri's here too.
Anytime I say my name, Siri gets activated. We're different, her and I. Anyway.
So, how are you?
I'm so good. I'm a little tired. It's been a long week. But when am I not tired?
Hard to say.
You know me.
As this episode is coming out, you are walking the streets of Paris.
I am.
That's
I'm
so
in a different
exciting.
country.
Ooh, I miss you.
I miss you. And I'm so excited to come back.
Oh, I'm excited for
But
you
I'm
to come back.
loving the croissants and baguettes, I'm sure.
I already know you are. How could you not be?
Seriously. How are you doing?
Other than the fact that I got stung by a wasp right before the episode.
Yeah.
Other than that, I'm okay.
That wasp is our biggest hater.
Literally.
That wasp left our 1-star review on Spotify.
Seriously. Just minding my own business. Getting out of my car. Sting.
Wow.
In December, nonetheless.
Yeah.
What are you still doing here?
Literally. That's life for women these days. Can't do anything.
Seriously. Well, what are we talking about?
It is the middle of December, which means it's winter time, I think.
Probably for most.
Yeah.
I would guess most people live in the northern hemisphere, but it is winter for the northern hemisphere.
True. Southern hemisphere gals, click off this video. Just kidding. You'll need this in 6 months. But yeah, in the northern hemisphere, it is currently winter time. I think it's December everywhere.
It is. That is true.
That's an important thing to know. In the wintertime, the weather obviously changes a lot. As I was doing the research for this episode, there was a literal blizzard outside. It was crazy. Our skin is more dry than normal. Hair is frizzy. Things change in the wintertime.
Yeah.
And so for this episode, I wanted to do a little bit of research into what changes in the wintertime and what changes to your routine you can make to continue to have healthy skin and hair the whole year round.
Perfect. That seems like a great topic for today.
Thank you. So, like I said, there are a lot of things that change in the winter, specifically in the environment. So there's less humidity or water in the air. There are two different measurements that we use for humidity. There's absolute humidity and relative humidity. Absolute humidity is the actual amount of water in the air, regardless of what the temperature outside is. So it doesn't change depending on temperature. And then relative humidity is how much water is in the air relative to the temperature. So cold air can't hold as much water vapor as warm air can. And when the weather gets cold, the relative humidity is higher. So you can kind of think of it like a water tank. Warm air has a bigger water tank than cold air does. So if there's the same amount of moisture in the air, the smaller tank fills up faster. Even if it's the same amount of water, it's just how full the tank is. Does that make sense?
I'm not sure if it does to me.
Really?
What's a water tank?
Okay, think of a cup. Think of a glass.
Yeah.
So you have a cup and a pitcher.
Yeah.
If you pour the same amount of water into both of those things, the cup gets full faster because it doesn't hold as much. So even if it's the same amount of water in both of those containers, you can't fit as much water in the cup. Cold air is like the cup. Warm air is like the pitcher.
Oh, okay.
Does that make more sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
It
does.
doesn't really matter that much. But
Yeah. If you listen to last week's episode, we talked about water's surface tension.
Yeah.
And how if you boil water, it turns into water vapor. But if it's cold, water freezes.
Yeah.
That's why we get things like snow. The water is falling out of the sky. I mean, don't quote me. I'm not a meteorologist.
She's
or
not
whatever.
a weatherman.
It does make sense when you think about what water does when it heats up versus when it cools down. when it heats up, it goes into the air. So if it's hot outside, the water is probably evaporating into the air as well.
Exactly.
If it's cold outside, the water that is in the air is probably turning into a solid.
Yes. And then there's less of it. Yes. So when you heat the cold air inside your house, like with heaters, the relative humidity drops because you made the tank bigger without increasing how much water is in the air. So that's like a water tank versus a cup.
Okay,
Does that make sense? When you turn on the heater, it just gets larger. It's kind of a tough concept. We can say pitcher versus cup. So you're turning it from a cup to a pitcher.
Okay.
But you're not adding more water. So the moisture gets like more spread out.
Like the volume that it's in.
Exactly. Yeah. And so if you don't add more water to the air through something like a humidifier, or you can have plants in your house, those can increase the moisture content in the air. Everything's going to feel more dry, like your skin, lips, throat, and hair, which is very common in the wintertime. Does that concept track?
Yeah.
Okay. It's just kind of an explanation as to like why things get more dry in the winter. It's just because of that relative humidity and how us doing things like heating cold air can contribute to that dryness.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. This is starting to make sense to me now.
So in the wintertime, there's less moisture in the air just regardless.
And then that's the air that's coming into your house. Less moisture air is coming into your house.
Yep.
And then you're heating that up.
Yeah.
But you're not also adding moisture to that warm air.
Exactly.
So it's not equivalent to the outside warm air because outside warm air pulls out moisture from all those. Unless you have indoor fountains, maybe.
Yeah, you can have
indoor standing water.
Yes. Then there will just generally, or like I said, plants. Yep.
Yeah.
Things
plants
like
that you water.
Yeah,
that
is
dead.
important. So yeah, that's why everything feels more dry. There's just less humidity in the air. Anyway,
that makes sense.
Now that we've explained that. So also in the winter, cold, dry winds are a lot more common than in the summer, obviously. Wind increases your heat loss. You just lose heat faster. And there's also like a thin layer of humid air right next to our skin because obviously we give off heat. And so when it's windy, it strips that layer away.
Yeah.
And that speeds up water loss. And that's why wind chill exists and why your face gets absolutely wrecked. Yep. Because on cold, windy days, even if the temperature isn't that low, you still have the wind causing issues.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And then UVB radiation drops in the winter because the sun is lower in the sky and the days are just shorter than they are in the summer. But UVA is still the same year round. And so it can contribute to wrinkles and pigment, especially because people believe that they don't need to wear sunscreen in the winter, which Nat has talked about several times. And then also snow can reflect UV. So if it's snowy outside, you can still get a lot of UV on exposed skin. Even UVB radiation, even though it's less in the wintertime, it still exists.
Yeah.
That's why it's common to get sunburnt when you're in the snow or if you go like skiing or snowboarding, because even though it's cold outside, the UV is still there. It doesn't care.
Yeah. Everyone knows if you go out in the snow and you look at it, it can be kind of blinding.
Yeah, it hurts.
Because it's actually reflecting the sunlight. But what that also means is that those rays are hitting you directly from the sun, but then they're also bouncing off of the surfaces of the snow or reflections. That's why water also, you get so sunburned on water. It's because it's reflecting and you're getting additional rays from that reflection.
Yeah.
So it's like the sun times a lot.
It's just like a lot of extra sun.
Times it's all around you.
Yeah, exactly. And all of these changes can contribute to water loss in your skin, more irritation, and it tends to aggravate existing issues like eczema, redness, flares, and just like general tightness. Also, it's very common for people to wear more layers and warmer clothing like wool and certain synthetics. And this increases friction both with your skin and your hair, and it can lead to irritation. And hats and scarves also create a lot of friction with your hair, which can lead to frizzy, staticky, dry, or broken hair. So overall, the winter is just a lot more rough than the summer is. So you might be asking yourself, how exactly do your skin and hair change in the winter?
Yeah.
I'm sure that was the question on your mind.
That was the very next question I was going to ask.
Perfect. Okay, so we've talked about this a little bit on the podcast, but I did want to just go over the structure of skin again. again, in case this is your first time tuning in. So the skin has 3 main layers. We have the epidermis, dermis, and hypodermis. And these layers are made from water, protein, fats, and minerals. On the outermost layer of your skin, that's called the stratum corneum. And this is also really commonly known as your skin barrier. People talk about the skin barrier all the time. This barrier is made up of dead skin cells called corneocytes. And it also has lipids, which are like fats in your skin. Think of it kind of like a brick wall. The corneocytes, those dead skin cells, are like bricks. And then the lipids are kind of like the cement in between the bricks. They fill in those gaps. The corneocytes have keratin and what's called natural moisturizing factor, or NMF, which loves water. And they soak up water and they hold on to it like tiny little sponges. It sounds like that too.
If you listen really closely to your skin, you can hear it go.
Especially after you've applied like a moisturizer or something. It goes crazy. That's going to be fun to listen to, I'm sure. So the lipid matrix, aka the cement that's in between, fills those spaces between the corneocytes. And this slows down water movement in and out of your skin. And it keeps irritants out. Or at least that's the point of it. It does this because lipids are super hydrophobic, which means they hate water. We talked about that kind of in last week's episode.
Yeah.
They're oil-based, so they don't like water. So they can repel the water and keep it inside your body instead of letting it evaporate out.
Maybe because it's December in Utah and I have a very large maple tree across the street of my house. Maybe that's why I'm thinking of this particular example. But if you've ever tried to clean up dry leaves versus wet leaves.
Oh, don't even get me started.
Like dry leaves are all like flaky and kind of crunchy. And the ground underneath it can also dry completely.
Yeah.
But if the leaves like get wet, in this case it's water, but it also holds all the moisture on the ground under it too.
Yep.
I feel like it's kind of the same thing. Like when I picture the images, the like graphics of skin cells that they have in like textbooks and stuff, kind of looks like a bunch of, I mean, you said bricks. It does look a lot like bricks. Just kind of like little flakes on top of each other.
Yeah. We'll put up a picture because I do have a photo of kind of the overlapping cells, what they look like. But yeah, that's a really good example, is it kind of keeps everything wet.
Yeah. Imagine if the leaves were covered in oil.
I don't even want to think about a world in which that exists.
It'd be really hard to clean those up.
So I would just hire it out. No way I'm doing that myself.
I'd unfortunately do it myself.
Would you, or would your mom come over and do it for you?
She'd definitely offer to help.
So unlike a real brick wall, the skin barrier is semi-permeable, which means it does let some things in and out. The deeper layers of your skin are full of water, obviously, because like your body is your body 70% water? Or is that the earth?
I think it's more than 70. We
should look it up. Oh, okay. Up to 60% of the human adult body's water.
It's gotten lower.
We're all dehydrated. But yeah, so the deeper layers of your skin are full of water, and there's always a gradient. It's wetter inside of your skin and drier outside. I don't remember exactly what episode it was, but we talked about osmosis.
Yeah.
The idea of osmosis is, it's similar to the idea of like equilibrium, where it just evens itself out. So the water naturally moves from the wetter layers of your skin outside to the surface because it's less wet, and then it evaporates from there. This is known as the concept of transepidermal water loss, or TEWL. TEWL.
Oh, yeah, we did talk about that.
Oh, yeah, because you said TWEL, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's how much water leaks out through the outer layer of your skin. And we use it as a way to see how strong or weak your skin barrier is. So if you have a really strong skin barrier, you generally have less water loss. And if you have a weak skin barrier that lets a lot of things through, you typically have more. And that is why a lot of people have dry, sensitive skin if their skin barrier is weak.
Interesting.
Because it's not properly keeping the water inside of your body.
Yeah, that makes sense.
If you're like me, you might be asking yourself, okay, so the main purpose of the skin barrier is to not allow water in or out. If that's the case, how are topical products even effective? If I apply something to my face that's supposed to moisturize it, how does it even get in?
Well, that's a good question.
Something to think about.
I sure hope you're going to tell me.
No, we'll see you guys next week. Like I said, the layer is semi-permeable, which means some water can get in. But also, we use cleansers with surfactants. These are ingredients we're going to do a whole episode on those probably pretty soon. But those are the main ingredients in cleansers, shampoos, that sort of thing. We use them because they stick to the dirt and oil and impurities and then remove them from your face. But they also temporarily disrupt that lipid layer because they have an oil-loving tail. So when you cleanse your face, it temporarily shakes up the structure, I guess.
Kind of opens the gates.
Yes, exactly. Not a lot, but just a little bit.
Yeah. Ruffles the leaves.
Yes. And that can allow moisturizing ingredients to get in. So it's actually most effective to cleanse your face and then put moisturizer on right after because the ingredients in your moisturizer can actually get into your skin layers since it's been kind of disrupted a little bit.
Yeah.
Like I said, even if you don't cleanse your face first, some of those ingredients can still get in. But if you want the most bang for your buck, you can cleanse, even if it's with a really gentle cleanser.
Yeah.
Do that first before you add moisturizer because that's going to be the most effective way to get those in.
Yeah.
Also, most of the long-term hydration to your skin barrier comes from the water inside your body because it diffuses from inside to the outside.
Yeah.
So rather than trying to rely mostly on products topically, it's going to be the most effective to just drink a lot of water and stay really hydrated.
Yeah.
Because topical water can hydrate your skin briefly, but if you don't seal it in, it just evaporates off, and that can sometimes leave your skin drier than before, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
that's another reason why you should use occlusives.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of things that can disrupt your skin barrier, and this happens by stripping or disrupting that lipid layer that we were just talking about. A lot of those things that happen also become a lot more common in the winter, like heat, friction, harsh cleansers, a lack of general moisture, etc.
I've mentioned in the past that some people are irritated by like oil cleansers, but I feel like that lipid layer kind of would explain why, because we do talk often about the concept of like dissolves like.
Yep.
And if you are putting oils on your face and then rinsing them off, I feel like that could disrupt your barrier for sure.
Yeah, I feel like that would make a lot of sense. Oil cleansers are probably the best just as makeup removers.
Yeah. But it does seem like if you were doing a multiple step thing, doing that and then also just making sure you hydrate after.
Yeah.
Because it does seem like just doing an oil cleanser could disrupt things without addressing the disruption.
Yeah, like it may seem gentler in theory
Yeah.
to do oil rather than actual surfactants, but we'll look into that more because this is just a theory.
Yes, for sure.
yeah.
And it's like all anecdotal because some oil cleansers kind of irritate my face.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
we
That
should
would
look
actually
into
explain it. Yeah, we'll look into it a little bit more. I also think it's important to note that there was a study in 2022 that said there are a lot of discrepancies in the studies that have been done regarding how seasons and climate affects the transepidermal water loss. There's a lot more research that needs to be done about how the environment actually affects your skin in the winter, but this is kind of what we know right now. So these things could change as further evidence comes out, but this is the best that I could find right now. And I feel like it makes sense.
Yeah.
So then with all of those changes that happen in the winter, there are probably some things in your routine that you'll want to adjust. The biggest focus in the winter is maintaining the water in your skin so that you can have a healthier skin barrier. And there are a lot of ways to do that. The first one, you could swap to a more heavy duty moisturizer. We have talked about like the big three before. It's humectants, emollients, and occlusives. As a refresher, humectants hold the water inside of your corneocytes, or those bricks that you have in your skin. Those are ingredients like glycerin, urea, hyaluronic acid, and sorbitol. And they hold the water inside of those, which can increase the water content in your skin. They can also grab the water from the deeper layers of your skin, and they also grab water from products you've just applied. So yeah, those are ingredients that are really important to have in your moisturizers. Then we have emollients, which are ingredients that kind of smooth the surface of your skin, and they can help fill in the gaps in the lipid layer or the cement between the bricks. So these are ingredients like oils, esters, ceramides, cholesterol, and fatty alcohols. Those are things like cetyl alcohol or stearyl alcohol, if you see those on the label. By filling those gaps in your skin layers, that can improve the integrity of your skin barrier, and it can also make your skin feel smoother because those gaps are filled.
Yeah.
And then the last thing that you should look for are occlusives. Those are ingredients that form a film over your skin, and that can help slow down the evaporation of water from your skin. So that includes ingredients like petrolatum, mineral oil, dimethicone.
I love her.
It's Nat's favorite. And waxes. These ingredients work by repelling water, and they can trap water inside your skin, reducing the tool and allowing your skin to maintain more hydration. One thing that I love to do, and I think you also love to do it, I do this year round, but I will do a humectant heavy serum, a moisturizer that has my emollients, and then slather myself in like petrolatum or something that holds it all in.
Yeah. So I have a friend who is a trail runner, and she just posted a video of like how runners survive the winter. Because
Oh, I bet that sucks.
yeah, and it's just her slathering her legs in Vaseline. And I was like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, because she was talking about like the windburn and stuff.
Yeah.
Because if you're running outside in the cold air, like your skin gets destroyed. And she's just like straight Vaseline on her legs. But I'm like, yeah, that's what you'd have to do.
Yes. That's
Makes a lot of
actually so
sense.
smart.
Yeah. I'm sure there are like runner balms and stuff, but
Yeah, probably. But I bet they have mostly occlusive ingredients.
yeah.
So there are also products that have all three of those things in them as well. It's very common to see a mixture of them. But just make sure that whatever products you're using in the winter cover all three of those bases. That's going to be the best bang for your buck. And then avoid harsh cleansers. You might want to consider using a gentler cleanser with like a creamy or milky texture to avoid stripping your skin of too much moisture. Some people don't need that, but if you already have sensitive skin, that might be a good swap to make. And then, like I said, add occlusive products to the last step of your routine. I would also say consider doing your nighttime routine 1 to 2 hours before bed rather than right before you go to bed. I've started doing this and I've actually noticed a big difference because it gives the product time to soak into your skin rather than just getting all over your pillow.
Yeah.
So I think it can be useful for any time of the year, but like especially in the winter when you really need as much hydration as possible. And then you can use a humidifier in your room at nighttime to increase the water in the air. Since our tank is bigger, we can also add a little bit more moisture. Last suggestion, drink more water.
Yeah.
So important all year round, but especially in the winter.
Yeah.
Let's
Very,
get
very
that
big.
60% up.
Yeah.
Okay, so now that we've discussed our skincare routine, let's move on to hair care.
Yes, please.
I don't know if we've really talked about the structure of hair on the podcast yet. First and foremost, it's very important for you to know that your hair is different from your skin because it's dead.
It is.
The root of your hair that's attached to your skin and inside of your skin is alive. That is the only part that is alive. After it comes out from your scalp or skin, it's dead. That means that your hair is very different from your skin in terms of how to take care of it. Structurally, our hair is made out of keratin, which is a protein. It has 3 main components of the structure. There's the cuticle layer, the cortex, and sometimes this thing called a medulla. So the cuticle layer is the outermost layer, and it's made of overlapping shingle type things on the outside of your hair. It also has a little like layer on it that makes it hydrophobic, which again means it does not like water. So naturally our hair repels water. Also, because they should be laying flat, they're very low friction. Porosity is a term that you've probably heard before. It's very popular on the internet. And that refers to how raised or flat these cuticles are. So low porosity hair has cuticles that are super flat to the strand. And high porosity has cuticles that are lifted up.
Guilty.
Sometimes they're even missing altogether.
Probably guilty of that
Probably.
too.
We'll have to go look at your hair analysis again.
I had like fused cuticle.
Oh, so you don't even have cuticles.
Yeah, they're gone. Goodbye.
Yep. See you later. You can picture like an acorn, for example. That's kind of what high porosity hair looks like. And then
Smooth. Sleek.
not high porosity, low porosity.
Oh, wait, right? An acorn is low porosity?
An acorn, well, one of those like skinny little guys,
Yeah.
that's low porosity. And then if you picture the acorn more open, that's like high porosity. Or I don't know, think of your Christmas tree. When you first pull it out of the box, that's low porosity. Then you start messing with
Like
all of
fluffing
the, you fluff the tree, that's high porosity.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, so the cortex is the inner layer of your hair. This is what makes up the bulk of your hair. That's the actual hair structure. That's where the keratin proteins live and also the various bonds in your hair live. And it also holds the most water and gives your hair strength and elasticity. Some people also have this thing called a medulla. There's not that much that's known about the medulla or how it impacts the hair structure. But from what we know, or at least what I know, it's basically like a protein or water pocket that sometimes runs through the center of your hair. There's a lot more research that needs to be done on that. But it is fun to see under a microscope.
Yeah.
We'll put up a picture of a photo I've taken of a medulla so you can kind of
Is there have you seen any like trends in like what type of hair has it? Like, is it like thicker hair?
Really? It doesn't have like consistent, it's not even like, oh, curly haired people have a medulla more. Like, I wonder if it's got more of a genetic component than anything. Yeah. I haven't seen a lot of trends, but it's something that I need to research more. And also just the scientific community needs to research more.
It would be an interesting thing for you to like note when you are seeing it. Just because you do have people sending hair into you.
See if I can find any trends.
Yeah.
All right, noted.
You can't do like a full study because the genetic component, obviously. You wouldn't know.
Yeah, that's a good idea though. Maybe see if I can find some trends.
Yeah.
Because maybe it has to do with width or your hair's elasticity or hair type or something. Yeah, we'll look into it. And then humidity can impact your hair a lot. I'm sure everybody has experienced this one way or another.
Probably.
But it's very common for, at least for me, I'll style my hair inside and then I go outside, like if I'm in Hawaii or something, and it just poofs up. It's so poofy, has so much volume, not in like a really good way though. But if you have styled your hair at high humidity, it's actually better to stay in the same humidity that you styled it in than go to a less humid location and vice versa. I don't really know if you can like control for that super well, but the reason for this is because of equilibrium, which we chatted about earlier. Your hair naturally has more water in it than in the air. But if the air around your hair gets more dry, like in the winter, water will start seeping out of your hair and into the environment outside of it because it's trying to reach that equilibrium. It happens in the other direction too. If the air outside is humid, water starts to enter your hair and stay there. And the water will keep moving in whatever direction it needs to in order to reach that equilibrium. So in the winter, if you style your hair inside and then you go outside where it's cold and dry, it's pretty common for it to look more dry, frizzy, and just like overall worse. Because the water is actively evaporating out from your hair, which can lead to those issues. So it's really helpful in the wintertime if you apply a hair oil or something to create a barrier and just use products with things like silicones or things that kind of trap water in your hair a little bit better. You also might be asking yourself, does your hair actually need water or moisture?
Yeah. I mean, it's not alive.
Exactly. So is it the same as your skin? This is a great question.
Yeah.
This is a topic that I am personally still trying to understand, honestly, because there's not very much good research on it. And I feel like every expert kind of says something different. I was taught when I first started with hair care science that your hair needs water. But over time, I've heard a lot of experts say that hydration is actually bad for your hair. So right now, I kind of believe that the truth is somewhere in the middle. Lab Muffin had a really good video about this. And kind of explained it. We'll link it in the description. But first, we have to note that hydration and moisturization are not technically the same thing. They're used pretty interchangeably, but they are not the same thing. So hydration is the process of actually increasing water content. Moisturization is locking in that water and preventing water loss. So humectants are ingredients that hydrate. Emollients and occlusives moisturize. Water and hydration aren't simply good or bad for your hair. They just change how your hair behaves. Like we mentioned in the Reddit Reacts hair care episode, hair is made of proteins held together by permanent and temporary bonds. Water breaks the temporary ones, which makes the wet hair softer, stretchier, and easier to reshape, but also weaker and easier to snap.
I've been thinking about that ever since we did that episode. I'm much more aware of like my wet hair and its fragility.
Good.
Just so you know.
Yeah. Ooh, I'm proud of you. Yeah, wet hair really is very fragile. So it's super important to care for it carefully. There's also a sweet spot for how much water your hair should hold. So too much water can swell your hair fiber unevenly and it can feel kind of rough and frizzy. But too little water can make it become stiff, brittle, and staticky. That's like if you're on planes or in a heated room in the winter, like it's really common for your hair to just like be just kind of gross. So most hydrating products aren't actually stuffing water into your hair fiber. They are actually conditioning the surface of your hair and coating it with ingredients like silicones, oils, and those fatty alcohols. That can help smooth down the cuticle. It can reduce friction and replace the little thin, natural, oily layer on top of our hair that I sort of alluded to earlier. That gets stripped away over time with damage. So it can kind of help mimic that. So really the goal isn't to hydrate your hair as much as possible. It's controlling how much water is in your hair, plus using really good conditioning products and also just treating it really gently.
Yeah. More than like worrying about water, it's about adding something like oils that would protect it from additional friction and exposure to elements in the winter.
Yeah, I would definitely say that conditioning is much more important than hydrating when it comes to your hair. Because, you want to make sure that your hair is well conditioned to, like you said, help reduce issues.
Yeah.
Some ways that you can adjust your hair care routine in the winter is, like we said, amp up those conditioning products in your routine. The two main ones that I like to recommend are silicones. Obviously, I love silicones. And cationic conditioning agents.
Yeah.
Those are the most important ones, but the hydrating products can also be beneficial. This is because when your hair builds up static, the strands will push away from each other, and that's what kind of causes flyaways. In last week's episode, we talked a lot about charges and how things that are the same charge, like two positives or two negatives, those are going to repel each other like magnets.
Yes.
So if your hair is very negatively charged, which actually happens when it becomes damaged, that can cause static and frizz and flyaways because they're actually repelling each other. And so a lot of hair products can help cut down on this charge, especially the cationic conditioners that we referred to. If you didn't know, cationic means positive.
Yeah.
You can put something that's positively charged on your hair. It binds to the negatively charged areas of your hair, reduces friction and all of that.
Yeah. It like neutralizes them so that they're no longer repelling each other.
Exactly. It's like giving your hair therapy. Hey, you're so negative, girly. Let's think about the positive.
Yeah.
Products that have both humectants and conditioning ingredients are usually the most beneficial. But like we said, conditioning should probably be your top priority. Also, be generous with the amount of conditioner and leave-in you're using. So if you notice your hair is getting frizzy or dry more quickly, you can either use products to refresh your hair between wash days or just amp up your wash schedule so you're applying conditioner more often. Yes, you're getting your hair wet more often, which isn't necessarily ideal, but it also allows you to condition more. Just be careful about it when it's wet, is what I would mainly say.
Yeah.
You can also consider pre-washing more often. So this is the practice of applying an oil or a silicone-based product onto your hair before you wash it. This helps to coat the hair shaft and prevent water from leaving your hair strand. It's that like occlusion idea that we mentioned.
One of my favorite winter hairstyles is just putting coconut oil in my hair, lots of coconut oil in my hair, and then slicking it back into a bun. Then I don't really have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Which seems kind of like what you said, but I also was going to ask you just your thoughts on putting your hair up. I know there is damage to be had with putting your hair up.
Yeah.
Like hair elastics and things like that can cause breakage. Would you still recommend doing that in the winter over like if you were wearing like if you were wearing a scarf or something, maybe put it up?
The thing about hair that's hard is no matter what you do, it's gonna get damaged,
right?
So it's basically the lesser of whatever evil. So I personally am a fan of putting your hair up. I would just recommend doing it in a gentle way, like with a claw
braid.
clip. A braid is a great hairstyle, maybe a loose bun on the top of your head. I think the most damaging styles are like super tight slick back buns, really tight high ponytails. I think there are ways that you can do all of those hairstyles in a less damaging way. If it feels painful on your scalp, it's probably
That's true.
not good for your hair.
I should do my messy bun tutorial.
You should.
I do a pretty good messy button. A pretty
Listen,
good.
her buttons are crazy.
A pretty good messy bun.
Those styles are great. I feel like that sort of thing, yeah, like I said, braids are really good, especially if you're wearing a scarf. I also would say, I haven't tried this out, but I really want to, is the idea of if you're wearing a scarf, you know how people tuck their hair in their scarf, so they'll put the scarf around their hair?
Mm-hmm.
I want to try putting my hair in a low ponytail with a scrunchie and then tying it all up into like a satin scarf underneath the scarf.
Yeah.
The actual scarf.
Yeah, I do love the look of hair tucked into scarves and coats. I think
do
it's
too.
so
And,
cute
like,
with like just like a
hoodies.
little like
Yeah.
tiny bit coming out.
Yes. I also love the look of it. I just want to find a way to make it healthier for your hair because it's like really, really bad for your hair to do that.
Yeah, to have it just like rubbing between your clothes and your neck.
Yeah. So I'll try that out and let you know how
Yeah.
that goes. But yeah, I think in general, putting your hair up as long as it is not tight or pulling against anything
Yeah.
is
Okay.
probably what I would recommend. Great question though.
Thank you.
And then adjust for the amount of humidity in the air. So if you're planning on spending the whole day outside, maybe add some more conditioning products or a hair oil to your hair before you go out. Just be aware of how you can adjust your routine for the conditions outside. And then we kind of already touched on this, but be so careful with scarves, hats, and coats. Try to wear your hair up when you're wearing those things. And if you can't, just limit how often you wear them. Also apply a hair oil to decrease friction because the friction is so bad for your hair.
Yeah.
So to wrap it up, winter is not out to personally ruin your life. At least I don't think so. But
I still think so.
Honestly, jury's out on that one. But it is working against your hair and skin a little bit. The air outside is colder and drier. The air inside gets even drier when we heat it. Wind is stripping away that thin layer next to our skin. We've got the UV that's happening. All of this adds up to water escaping from your skin and hair. And just generally more irritation, more flare-ups, more frizz, more static, more issues. But none of that means that you're doomed. It just means that your summer routine doesn't automatically work for your winter routine.
Yeah.
In the winter, your goal is pretty simple. You need to protect your barrier and control water loss from your skin and your hair. For your skin, that can look like gentler cleansing, heavier moisturizers at night with those 3 ingredients we mentioned, sealing things in, using a humidifier, maybe adding some more plants to your house.
Yeah.
If that makes you happy, especially. Just make sure
Yeah.
you're watering them.
Yeah. My plants in the winter, they do something very important for me.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know.
Mental health as well.
Like something about having living plants that I can still see in the winter. I think it is very like, I feel like there's something physical about it too. I mean, there are like healthy air plants and stuff.
Yeah.
Obviously. So.
Well, and they, like I said, increase the humidity in your house in general. So,
so I think it's all good
for you. Yeah. Add some plants to your routine and stay hydrated.
Yeah.
In order to stay hot, you got to stay hydrated. Sorry.
That is the rule.
Sorry.
One concept that maybe I could introduce to you
Yeah.
is the concept of wintering.
Oh.
So the idea is that humans are supposed to do a little bit more self-care, rejuvenation, relaxation in the winter. So it might sound like I have to add all these extra things to my routine, but also kind of think of it as like that's what you're supposed to do at this time is like watch some movies with your hydro jug, like put on a big heavy cream and like curl up with a blanket and drink water and read a book. That's what this time is for. Just make sure that you have like do all of your cozy indoor stuff and then just apply a heavy cream and drink lots of water at the same time.
Exactly. You can play drinking games in the winter just with your water bottle.
Yeah.
Take a sip every time I say so in this episode. You're going to be so hydrated.
So hydrated.
So hydrated. So yeah, winter is always going to change in the environment, but once you understand why these changes happen and how it affects your body, you can adjust your routine so that your skin and hair can stay looking as good as possible instead of being your worst enemy until spring.
That makes sense. I do feel like there is a lot of skin and hair frustration in the winter.
Yes.
I'm definitely feeling it this winter. As we've been doing this episode, I'm thinking how dry my lips are.
Dry lips are the worst.
Yeah, I'm like sitting here like...
Then my
doesn't
throat
help.
gets dry. Everything's dry. My eyeballs, oh my gosh. dry
Yeah.
eye.
Yeah, and the Accutane didn't help. Winter dryness is a whole new level after Accutane. I don't know what it is. I mean, I do know what it
Yeah.
is. It's the complete dysregulation of your
The complete
sebum.
removal of your oil glands.
Yeah.
The annihilation.
Yeah, it definitely takes a toll on that stratum corneum, but
Yeah, for sure.
especially in the winter.
Yeah.
It is crazy now when I like get out of the shower, which makes sense because you've disrupted that barrier.
Mhm.
It feels like my skin is on fire. I like have to moisturize because
Yeah, and
feel
that's
like
the
I'm gonna
best time
die.
to do it.
I feel like I am so exposed. I feel like Mr. Krabs without a shell.
Like a naked mole rat.
Yes.
You're a Sphinx cat outside of the shower. But yeah, basically, little changes to your routine can make a big difference, and you don't have to hate your skin and hair this winter.
No, please don't.
If you just do these 10 simple tricks, you can have perfect skin and hair this winter.
Follow these tips.
And drink more water.
This is water this time. Well, this one's a Diet Coke. I'll drink both.
I think that this episode, you could probably make a compilation of all of your fun noises.
Oh, yeah, I probably could.
There were several. So yeah, that's all I have for today's episode.
Well, thank you so much. I'm so excited to slather myself in some occlusives.
Yeah, layer up in that Aquaphor.
Yeah. And I definitely am going to be more aware of scarves and hats because I love a scarf.
Mm-hmm.
A vest and a scarf, that combo.
Yep.
So cozy.
It's so cozy, so cute. I also love my coats and scarves, but you know those coats that have like the water resistant material?
Ooh,
That plus a scarf. Yes.
Yeah.
There you go. Another one. Add it to the list. Yes. Those just absolutely destroy your hair.
Yeah.
So yeah, even just being aware of it can be really helpful.
Yeah.
And if you don't need to wear a scarf, maybe skip it. Or maybe put your hair in a messy bun. Tutorial coming soon to Nat BXB.
So true. Well, thank you so much. That is very helpful. I hope that all of you guys have some tips that you're excited to move into winter with.
Yeah. And if you guys have any tips that you didn't hear us talk about that have helped you throughout the winter season, leave them in the comments because we're also consumers of beauty and I'm always looking for a nice tip or hack.
Yes, please. And thank you guys so much for listening.
Yes, thank you.
If you made it this far, you're our favorite. You already know.
You already know.
So if you're willing, like we said, you are our favorite. Need we say it again? If it gets you to leave us a review, if it gets you to subscribe.
Truly, it's so helpful if you guys subscribe, like, comment on the videos. It helps us so much.
It really does.
So thank you for every single comment and like, and even just view of our content. We are so appreciative. Hopefully it continues.
Yeah. We'll see you guys next week for a special Christmas Eve.
Yay! Next week is Christmas and we have a very fun episode planned.
Yeah. Very fun.
So we can't wait to see you. But until then, stay hydrated.
Stay so hydrated.
Yes. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.